Today on the pod, we've got a luxury interior finishes business. Now, this is a business that is doing some residential work, they're doing some commercial work. Their biggest problem, they just cannot get the right number of quality, qualified leads. And that is why they've come in the podcast, not one, but two guests. It's going to be a good conversation, this one. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it. Right, welcome back, beautiful people. I hope you're all doing well. The eagle-eyed among you will have noticed there's no headphones. That can only mean one thing. Yes, this is an in-person podcast. And I think, Darren, this is a first for us, is it not, my friend?
I think it is.
We have not one, but two guests.
Yeah.
We've got Alan, we've got Peter, and I'll be introducing these guys very shortly.
Nearly run out of mics.
Well, quite. It's been panic stations behind the scenes, the chaos. But no, this is going to be a really good conversation today. Delighted to have you chaps with us. And they're all branded up. Look at this. This is beautiful. So they got the memo. I'll bring them in shortly, but the conversation today is going to be one around how they get qualified leads, and not just leads, but qualified leads. And I think how many businesses can relate to that in terms of, look, you know, particularly when it's a premium product, you know, when it comes at a certain level of investment, then how do you find those people with a few quid to spend?
That's it.
And that is, you know, very topical for us because that is a lot of our clients. If you think of the products and services that we market in the home garden space.
Some notes.
Exactly that. This is going to make some notes. It's going to be an education piece. But that's going to be the conversation. Before that, though, how you doing? You well?
Yeah, good. Yeah,
Good
we're on a podcast spree
We are.
today.
We're full steam ahead. So we're in our flow now. And actually, we can say we are actually recording today. We're documented today for an episode of Uncut.
We are.
So we've never done that before. So there you go. You're going to get that. So that's going to be we're going to show you how we do today, what today looks like behind the scenes. So keep an eye out for Uncut, and you'll see that. But before I bring these lovely chaps on to talk about their business and how we can help them grow, we mentioned it at the last episode, didn't we?
People have been absolutely
They've
dying.
been chomping at the bit.
They have, for a whole week.
What's this Google update? So essentially, I'll try and keep it as short, snappy, and to the point as I can. Google this week, at the time of recording, have released a big update around. They went on stage and essentially they were talking about how Google is going to continue to evolve AI. Essentially,
I saw a lot.
There has been a lot of posts about this. There's been a lot
about
of
glasses. Which my Meta glasses were getting jealous, I will say. There's
been a lot of talk, and then in the marketing world, the sphere within which, get your words out, Aaron, that I operate in, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of chat. What does this mean?
Yeah.
What does this mean for SEO? What does this mean for ads? And crucially, what does this mean for small businesses? And so what I thought I would just share is essentially what I took from it is Google, it's not news to anyone that Google uses AI. All these search engines use it. They have for a long time, right? We all now know of, and we think of ChatGPT, and we think of all of these different platforms, and you know, AI tools are seemingly coming out every day. And Google basically just gave an update, among many other things, but essentially saying how they were going to continue to lean into AI, use AI, leverage AI. What it means, I think, what the big takeaway that I took away from it in terms of for small businesses is accept and understand that our websites are no longer the be-all and the end-all as far as getting traffic and getting sales inquiries, right? You as a business, the old sort of approach of we're going to create a website, we're going to optimize our website, we're going to run ads to our website, and then everything needs to stem from our website. The way the search is evolving, that is no longer going to be the case, right? Because AI is being leveraged to basically Google is giving more and more of the answers to questions and the information that you seek in the results, meaning we are increasingly moving to fewer and fewer clicks. What that means for businesses is they're seeing fewer and fewer website visits. Everyone's traffic is down right now. If you look year on year, you look at the last couple of years across all platforms, and you guys are probably seeing this, is traffic is down, and that can therefore mean if you don't have things set up, your inquiries are down. Your leads are down, your sales are down. And it's because Google is leveraging the search results to say you don't need to click into their website to get the answer because, hey, the answer's here. And that's one very simple way of explaining the myriad of things that Google is doing. And what I took from it is, okay, that's not news to us marketers, but it maybe is to a lot of small businesses. And it will be. There's a lot of small businesses right now that me saying this, they'll go, what? What's he saying? You know, there'll be a lot. And what it means and what you can do about it is go back to the old principles of make sure that your website and your socials and your whole omni-channel approach to marketing is very much focused on being famous to a few, which is something we preach all the time, but about saying your website and your business, all of the digital touch points of your business need to reiterate and reinforce what you do and where you do it, if you're a local business, which is like what you guys are, or what you do and for whom you do it, if you're e-commerce, if you transact online, right? This is our target customer, this is our demographic. And that feeds into how you optimize, it feeds into how you run your ads, and you have to accept the status quo. It means you're going to get less traffic. You're going to see fewer people landing on your website, and you are going to make tracking is going to become increasingly difficult in terms of being able to say, I put X into Google and I got this back. I put X into Y and Y into Meta and I got this back. The reality of it is all businesses are going to need to look at their marketing as an overall and go, right, are we as visible as we need to be and as prominent as we need to be for what we do and where we do it, which is I'm going to come on to with you guys.
I think it's interesting because ultimately it means it's never been harder to advertise to everyone.
100%. And all of the search results are going to be are already and are going to continue to be hyper personalized, right? Which does kind of fly as, it's a bit of a fly in the ointment of, if you think of recent years with the whole GDPR privacy policy cookies and all of that, at the same time as that's the reality, and there's lots of talk about third-party cookies and so on, but the reality of it means is Google is now going to know you as a user, right? Me as a user. It's going to know who we are. It's going to know our search behaviors. It's going to know not just what we search for, but how we interact. Are we one of these people that gets the results in the search results and then we go off? Or are we someone that goes into a website and actually wants to go a bit deeper and get the some of the further information?
I mean, and going off of you saying that Google's going to know who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take ChatGPT, for example, I was telling you just the other day about how it has an internal memory.
Yep.
And if I type into ChatGPT, what is my company, it will say the Evergreen Agency.
Yep.
Because we've done so much with ChatGPT now that it just has constantly updated its own internal memory of us that it knows who we are.
And it's scary to a lot of people but it's going to, and so the search results, they've always been, they've been personalized to an extent for a long time in terms of if you search them, you're going to see skewed results. That's why when a lot of people search for their business, they go, we're coming up top of Google for everything. Yeah. You're not. It's because Google knows that's your business and you are on the website frequently, so it constantly find it.
It's one of the most commonly done mistakes.
I searched first and we're always coming up, but no one's ever getting in touch, right? You guys are laughing, it's probably right. But that's because it's personalized. But what's happening with AI is it's going to a whole other level, and Google's going to know how you search and the relationship between what you search and how you interact and what you do, not just on Google, but across Bing and YouTube and all of these platforms. It's all just going to amalgamate together and mean that the results are so incredibly hyper personalized. And what's really interesting, a big shout out to Chris, our paid search manager on the team, because he was doing a bit of a deep dive and a research piece into this, and he was looking into it, and he came up to me, it was only this week, and he said to me, he said, what's really interesting about the changes from Google, what they've announced and how their vision of what they see the future of search looking like, he said, is that Google, based on what they're saying, is going to become less and less of a discovery tool. Yeah. Right? Because if Google is so personalized that it just only ever shows you what it knows you like, well, how does it find new things?
True.
So, and if you think of what Google is it's a search engine, right? You go on it to search for things. But if it is so hyper personalized, it's never going to serve you new stuff. In the same way as if you think of what social's doing right now, if you interact with a certain type of video on social, whatever that might be, you watch something on a specific TV show or you watch something about cars, what do you then see? Therefore, continually...
I can give you a great example. Is on TikTok.
Yep.
Anytime I get a promoted product on TikTok, and it doesn't have to be an ad, but it can be something that someone is trying to sell.
Yeah.
If I click on the shop page link on that, all I see for a week is more of that same product.
Right. You guys can see the same?
Exactly
right? So it's that, and I think... but that, and now Google's essentially going to be doing that. But it does raise the question, this is what Chris was looking at, and he was sort of... we were talking about it and we were sort of trading ideas, well, what and why and how. And I thought what's really interesting about that is Google's not going to move that far away from being, it is a search engine. It's not going to move that far away from its core identity because that's where it makes its money. But fundamentally, how is it going to balance the search results with... Sorry. Oh my God. We're going to have to... is that going to make a difference to the visual?
Yeah, not much.
Okay, fine. You're just going to have to do some post-edit.
Yeah.
Now we've got the lights on, right? Okay. But what I think, sorry, hold on. But what I think is really interesting about that is how Google is going to balance the way it's going to lean into AI, but also maintain that it can still be, super discoverable to give you new products, new services, things you don't know of, but you would have an interest in. It's interesting. It's what I've said before, and I keep saying it. Is Google is going after Meta's lunch, and Meta's going after. They're all wanting to cross point. They're all looking at all these platforms. Essentially looking at what the other's doing. Going, we want a bit of that. We've been talking about, haven't we? Video, shorts, long form, amazing. Anyway, but yeah. So I just thought because a lot of our audience probably won't have seen nor be interested in the Google thing. But
once they've got it all down, then everyone can get more customers, and they can get them to sign on the dotted line with their signature, leading us on to signature walls, which is our guest.
Come on, he's gonna set the scene for us, and then we'll bring you guys in, and we can get into the headlines. I've got some cracking ideas for how we're gonna grow this business. So that's your headlines, but I'm teasing you. I'm making you wait. You gotta wait.
So we've got signature walls in today.
Yes, we have.
And we always
We've got Alan and Peter. Yes.
Alan and Peter. Yeah. We always ask a couple of questions so that we can find out a little bit more about their business. Their estimated monthly revenue. Now, I've got it written down here that it varies. I think you have
we're in the hundreds of thousands, aren't we? It's up and down, but we're in the hundreds of thousands of turnover, which is very nice.
We asked them how many team members they have. They've said up to 10. So a nice
you got a few in and then a few subbies and stuff like that, like most in the space have.
Exactly.
Perfect. We always ask for their 3 marketing challenges. The first one is consistent organic inbound leads.
Oh yes.
Which wouldn't that be
Holy
nice?
Grail.
The one everyone dreams for.
There you
exactly
go.
That. Yeah.
The second one is having enough time and resources to be omnipresent.
Love that you're even thinking you want to be omnipresent. That in itself that's a win. That's what we need to be.
Step.
100%.
That is the first step. Third marketing challenge is knowing which platforms will give the best reach and return on investment. I think we've got a couple of ideas.
100%.
Then we ask them what marketing platforms they're using, and they're using a whole bunch, including LinkedIn, their website, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Pinterest. Which, I'd say you're hitting a lot of the marks there, which is good. Current marketing spend this year so far, they've spent about 6 to 8K, which monthly...
Dabble, we were talking before we came in out, dabble with a little bit of Meta, a little bit of Google, a bit of sort of trying a few little things,
and where do you want the business to be in 1 year? I love this statement. Automated where possible, systemized and scalable with a predictable pipeline of ideal clients.
So said every business in the land. That's what we all want.
Maybe not quite as eloquently, but still, that's what we all dream of.
And then finally, what do you want, or not finally, but what do you want your business to look like when it's finished? And for the end goal, they want 8-figure exit or self-sufficient business that requires not much work from us other than oversee, checking in and ensuring the ship sails smoothly. Which again is very ideal.
There'll be a lot of people sitting there going, right, let's get into it. How do we do that?
How do we do it?
I'll have some of that,
Come on,
please.
Aaron, tell them.
Some of them free nuggets.
And then we always ask 3 questions that they'd like to ask Aaron. And the questions that we have here, how can they service both commercial and residential clients at the same time without mixing the messages? What's the most effective tools for content creation and automation of systems in service-based business right now? Which I've got some ideas for that. And then finally, which social platforms work best and where should they be investing their time, energy, and resources to get inbound leads?
Fabulous.
I love these questions.
There you go. There's a lot for us to get into there. So right, come on then, chaps. Sorry, I've kept you waiting in the wings.
Yes.
But just give us, who are you, the business, over to you. Who wants to go first?
So I'm Peter. My name's Peter, and I'm the director of Signet.
For Archie.
Oh yeah.
So I'm Peter.
Yep.
I'm the director of Signature Walls. In theory, we're a Venetian plastering and decorative coatings company. However, I like to address myself as a wall designer or a architect of walls.
Okay,
just for a little bit of a joke.
How, on your LinkedIn, if I was to go on your LinkedIn profile, would it say that? Like on that title bit? Because it should say that, because to make it super...
it'd be serving hospitality and design clients.
Yeah, fine. Okay, nice. Very good. Okay, and what about your good self?
Yes, so my name's Alan from Signature Walls, and ultimately we are a decorative finishing specialist. So we've got a solution for every surface, and it's up to us really to bring the client's vision to life and let them see what it is they've got in their head, but in the real world.
I love it. Right, thank you. So there'll be people watching going, you said architectural coatings, decorative finishes, premium walls. What does that mean? What does it actually? Because this is something I said.
Question.
What does it actually mean that you paint a picture?
Yeah,
use the pun for our viewers.
Yeah, exactly that. So we're a seamless surface design decorator in theory.
Yeah.
So we might bring a marble-looking wall or a seamless bathroom that's totally waterproof every single layer as an alternative to boring, tired walls that are just painted. Okay. So we're a luxury premium decorator in theory.
I think that's a nice. So a luxury premium decorator. See, and it's just that your target customers there, and you mentioned that you got some residential stuff, but then you also do commercial stuff.
Yeah.
So, and those customers. So your residential customers will be fairly affluent, £1 million sort of typically, sort of fairly high-end stuff.
We have had sort of medium range clients, as I like to call them, to low end. They might just want one bathroom done.
But they want something a bit special, essentially. They want something beyond just. They don't want to put paint it or put wallpaper.
People who typically find us want that low maintenance bathroom without grout, without silicone, because we're a seamless solution for a bathroom as an alternative to tiles.
Yep.
But some might find us just for the odd feature wall that they might want some branding put into their feature wall and something that's a one-off
I've seen some of that. You've got some branded walls on the website, and you like feature wall type stuff, like really nice stuff, really a bit special.
Bold. So I class them as one-off walls or branded walls.
Fine, gotcha.
It depends.
And then the commercial stuff, that's more your hotels, that sort of thing?
Hotels, so seamless spas, the one that we're doing at the minute is 2 in Fitzrovia we've done. One was a really quirky high-end boutique hotel that's got really wacky finishes and kit out, and the theme's very wacky, and the other one's more luxury, premium high-end 5-star. So they're serving 2 different clients in theory, but we're doing both the spas there, so we're doing an
As a business, do you do more commercial, more residential? What do you...
It's a mixed bag at the minute. We're in that transition period at the minute where we're going after commercial clients as well as domestic, because we know the domestics are quick spinners.
Sure.
And they're more profitable in theory.
Sure.
But the commercials obviously building your company.
And
it's more weighty jobs.
So in terms of thinking about growing then, do you lean, the idea, would you want more of both, right?
Yeah,
or
exactly,
do you lean one way or the other, or is it just a case of we love both, we want more of both?
Me personally, I love doing the smaller little jobs if I'm on the tools. However, I can't always be on the tools. So my ideal business model would be is if I could do 2 to 4 small jobs a month, quick minimum charge jobs, where that pays me a great wage, and then the bigger jobs I've got a small team on there to medium team that running the jobs, and then we've got a couple of little bits and bobs going on in the background as well, like interior design. And
because you said, just so to set the scene, so in terms of your roles, you guys, so you're more sort of on the tools, and then you're more the tech and the marketing.
I deal with the back end stuff, so on the computer, the website.
We can have a geek off.
There you go.
It's all right, you can come round here and we can have a chat.
Right, okay. Okay, amazing. Right, so and what I want to do, as I say, this is just try and give you guys some really practical stuff. So in terms of the marketing, then, so you
hold the phone, Mister.
I got good for one episode. One episode, I did it right.
I was sat here thinking, I'm gonna let him have his try. See if he does it.
Sorry. I'm terrible. I forget.
Done me dirty.
He's
done me dirty.
To be fair to me, you still haven't put behind that wall. I said I need a whacking great sign, and you could then
don't forget it.
You need the light on it that starts flashing if I forget.
You know what I have actually? This is a bit of a sort of peek behind the curtain. You know how in our sort of end of show little game, paid media problem, where we have our ding dong, which is almost as a way to interrupt you. I feel like I need one for paid media mystery as another way to do that. So I might do. I'll have a think and I'll come up with something.
Or I could just get.
Or maybe you could just remember.
That's the easiest
but
solution.
Regardless of
that, come on then,
it is time for a paid media mystery.
How could I forget? It's such a good jingle.
So yes, of course, it's time for a paid media mystery. That
between the three of us, we can't get this wrong, surely.
Where I ask Aaron and our guest a industry-related multiple-choice question, so that everyone can play at home as well. And of course, it's always to do with paid media. So the question today is: in 2025, what is the average cost per click, or CPC, for Google search ads in the UK home improvement industry? So your answers you can choose from are A, £1.65, B, £3, C, £5.26, or D, £7.85.
I'm going to go C.
Same again. What? £1?
£1.65,
Yep.
£3,
Yep.
£5.26, or £7.85.
Oh.
What did you go for, Alan?
I'm going C, £5.26.
If you're going for C, I'll go for B.
£3. What are you going to go? Are you going to go for the same as one of them, or are you going to go for the lowest or the highest?
The average CPC, was it for a specific type of campaign?
For a Google search ad.
A search ad.
UK home improvement.
It's either A or B. It's either A or B. It's the I'm going A.
A, £1.65.
Yep.
Okay. You are all wrong.
Oh, no way! What are the chances? Are you serious?
The answer is
£3.
D, £7.85.
What?
That's
The
the average cost.
per click.
Wow.
In 2025, from Google Ads benchmarks, for a home and home improvement industry.
Wow.
Okay.
I got that way off. What am I doing? Do you know, I'll tell you my rationale. I'll try and justify how I got it so wildly wrong now. Because I was thinking the average, and I was just thinking of how many people go broad on their terms and just get masses of traffic, and it's completely irrelevant.
Sure.
That was my thinking.
To be fair
Clearly,
to you, I didn't give you a super specific type of campaign.
No, that's fine. It's all good. Don't try. Look,
Left you in
I
the
got it
dark.
wrong. Don't try. It's terrible. Wildly. Well, you two chaps were closer than I was. Blimey, right.
So, yeah,
we might
so
have
there
to,
you go.
We might have to exclude this from the
We'll
episode.
edit that one out.
We'll edit that one out. Oh.
But that's our paid media
Wow, very
mystery
good,
for
very
today.
What was it? £7 odd?
£7.85.
Insane, isn't
That
it?
is expensive, isn't it? Well, if you think, and that's just for the click.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just for
Then
the
you
click.
don't know if it's going to be
Convert.
relevant. You don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to be, crazy. This is why it's so important to get, those clicks and make sure they're as relevant as possible and all of that good stuff. Fascinating. Right. Anyway. Okay. Amazing. Now, let's get straight into these marketing. So it sounds like you guys have tried a bit of this and a bit of that. Is that
Yes.
fair? You said you'd done some Google stuff before, spent a few £100 and didn't seem to give you any quality consistency. Now you're still doing a bit of Meta. Is that right? Just paint a picture for us of what the marketing looks like. How are you getting leads right now?
Yeah, so we primarily rely on organic SEO as it's one of our strongest inbound channels. We've also got some LinkedIn stuff going on as well, so connecting with industry-specific people working in the hospitality design world. From a paid search perspective, we've done Google search ads, and we've also had some Meta ads running recently.
Okay. So, right, where do I start? So, I want to get into the ad side because I think there's some really interesting things there.
Yeah,
But from the SEO, I think that was something we were talking about before we came on air, as you were saying, like from an SEO, because you worked with an agency doing a few bits, but they're no longer in place.
They're no longer in place.
Right, fine. So I think for you guys, when it comes, and it sounds like, you were talking and you were saying like, SEO, they're doing a bit of this, and you were in Search Console, and love that. So I think fundamentally, SEO, if I can give you some tips on how to approach your SEO. SEO, you absolutely do not need an agency to do your SEO. Firstly, you're best doing your SEO yourself. And the best way to think about SEO is fundamentally three things, right? So it's good on-page technical foundation. So you think of that's kind of, that's getting the website optimized, make sure it's easy to navigate, use, it's a good user experience, right? All common sense stuff. I always think of good, for a small business, good SEO principles and foundations is just using common sense. And there's a little hack that I have that I always recommend businesses do, which is essentially look at your website to make sure your website is optimized. Go through it as if it's the first time on your website, and make sure that every page conveys what you do and where you do it, right? Your target area. So this is what we do in terms of these are our services, our products. Great, lovely. But also then make sure you say, and this is where we do it. So this is our target area. We're not saying we only work in this area, but fundamentally, principally, because you're Surrey and the sort of surrounding. Well, you said London and the home counties is your
exactly
sort of,
that. Yeah.
Right. So what we'll do. I haven't told you we're going to do this, but we'll get the website. So I'm on the website now, and the website is for anyone that wants to go and check out what these guys do. Well, exactly. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with you to do right now. Don't worry. What I want to do, and this is something you guys can do at home. is you can and the website is signature-walls.co.uk. So if you think, oh, I like the idea of getting a feature wall, check these guys out. But what I want to do here, and what you can do yourself, is go on to say start with your homepage, and we can look through it to basically make sure, does it clearly say what we do and where we do it? And a good litmus test for this is, give us what would be a key phrase that someone would search that you think, if they're looking for that, they're looking for us.
Polish plaster or micro cement, typically.
Okay, so let's do
what would
micro.
You say, Al?
I mean, both of those.
So let's have it right. So let's right. So if we look at micro cement, what is that? Just for those that don't know.
So micro cement is an epoxy and resin cementitious based formula. So we use it for seamless installations. It's fully waterproof, so you can literally do floor, walls, ceilings, all in the same product with no grout lines or join lines.
Oh wow! So it's literally completely seamless.
So it's just a waterproof, seamless bathroom.
Don't tell my wife about this because she'll get you in. She'll be like, right, can I have that?
Yeah, you could colour match it. You could add textures. You could do a little play around with it, but generically, it just looks like concrete.
Okay, amazing. So if we look at that, so just as an example, and this is something I say you guys can do, but what we want to make sure is, does the website say this is what we do? So on the homepage, you've got 2 mentions of that word, so of micro cement. Yeah.
Yeah.
One's right towards the bottom of the page, and then one is for the service page specifically. Now, if we go on to that page very specifically, in terms of you've got a micro cement bathroom page, right, on your website. What we then want to do is make sure that, okay, does that say this is what it is? This is the product or the service, yeah? But then, and this is where we do it. And so I'll click in now to the micro cement bathroom page, and then where would we do it? We do it in London. Yeah, you offer that service. You could be offered in London. It's wherever, right? So again, if we look at, and I appreciate it for those watching, not to see it, but you could follow on and you could do this yourself. But if you go onto the website, the key ways to optimize the page is that along the tab is your page title. Then your heading on the main heading of the page, think of it like the title of the book, that's your main heading. And then you've got the text and subheadings, and depending on how the website looks. But so it says here what you do. So your page title says micro cement bathrooms, clean, modern, minimalist. So that's doing a great job of saying what it is. But what's missing? Doesn't say where.
Doesn't say
where you do it, right? And now if you go through the website, and I've just done like a control find, and you can look for, London or Surrey or home counties or the places with which you would do it. And so if we look, there's only 3 mentions of the word, say, London on the page. But the problem is I've got to go right down. I can't even see it. So I can't actually, let me try and find... so there's one mention of it in this. You've got a scrolling image thing on the website and it's obviously that's for a specific project to say this is what we did. So the only mentions of London are that scrolling thing, but they're dynamically inserted on the page. So what essentially we're not doing for both Google and for customers is reiterating, we do this service and we do it in your area. Do you see how that, and that's what you need to do. You can go through this, and this way you don't need an SEO agent to do this. Just grab yourself a cold beer one evening and just go through it. Do you know what I mean? Just get through it. But so a better optimized page title might be, micro cement bathrooms tailored to your taste. Lovely. But then maybe in the subheading or the text, it's like, this is the solution we provide. So you've said the modern micro cement bathroom can be installed to give you a complete seamless blah, 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 blah. And we do this in London and across the home counties. Because then you're telling Google, this is the product, the service, and this is where we do it. And the reason that is important, and doing that across all pages, so what and where, the reason that's super important is because when people go online and they're searching for a, company near me, services near me, products near me, or close by, or all of that stuff, Google will join the dots and go, okay, they provide this service. Oh, and they do it mainly around London and home counties. It's a really simple hack. What and where. Simple as that. Yeah.
So quick question on that then, if I may. Aaron. So what my head was trying to work out then is we've got micro cement bathroom as the actual page slug. Would I duplicate this page and then just do a service page per area? So I could do micro cement bathroom Surrey, micro cement bathroom London, but then get really dialed in and say micro cement bathroom Epsom, micro cement bathroom Kingston as an example.
You could, and some people would do that. And the old approach to SEO would be to absolutely do that. I would say no. And the reason you don't need to do that is Google is now, these days, is by far smart enough to understand that if someone searches for Surrey and a town or city is around the corner or it's the next one, it knows, it's just down the road. So you don't need to, kind of school it on how to do it. Doesn't, you don't need to. Go back a few years, that was absolutely what everyone did. You don't need to do that anymore. Gotcha. But what I would be doing is, and you sort of do, you've got some of it in here in terms of the product, you sort of say, or I'd be adding in here. So this, where you've got this scrolling thing, where you say, this is what we did. So you say, the timeline was this, the cost was this, how long it took was this, the location was this. So you add in the location, right? And that's reiterating the where we do it. Gotcha. And it's telling Google, oh, we did one here, we did one in this place, we did one in this place, we did one in this place. And then you would just feed in. You could have comma separated a bunch of locations. We operate in London and the home counties specifically.
Yeah,
that's how you get them in. So you could get, without putting masses in, you could get 3 or 4 or 5 in quite easily.
And would you say to use those as plain text, or would I structure in the H3 to H6 header range?
I love the fact that you know what H3 is. Not many guests come in and talk to me about H3 and H6. This is great. You could do, I think fundamentally it's what makes the most sense for the user. I always say you optimize your website around what is best for the user experience. If you optimize for the customer and what reads best and looks best and sounds best, Google will love you for that. Okay. If you optimize for Google, you run the risk of it just looking from a customer's perspective, it just looks a bit clunky and it feels a bit pushed and a bit. Whereas if you just think, right, what reads best for the user, which is why I've said here, I wouldn't, in your main heading, you've said micro cement bathrooms tailored to your taste. I personally wouldn't change that and go, you could crowbar in a London reference. I wouldn't, because I think that's just a nice statement. Tailored to your taste. Lovely. That's a nice sentiment. But what I'd be doing to follow on from that is saying, yeah, this is a bit more about the product and we do it for people like you in these areas. Yeah. Okay. And then take that principle and apply that and you will see an uptick in terms of visibility, 100% organically. And that's already a good sort of avenue for you. So that's the first thing from a how you optimize. Now, other things in terms of, I think I was asking myself these sort of fundamentals of with this, would I run Google ads, for this? I think I would. I asked you before we came on air, I said, do you use Google Search Console? And you said you do. I think Google Search Console, if you can find the super niche terms that really encapsulate exactly what it is you do, then I think it would be worth experimenting. But what you want to avoid with Google, and maybe that's what the problem you had before, is spending so much on a per click basis that you don't get, and there are a lot of tire kickers, a lot of time wasters, people that go, they're looking for it, but when you then go, and it's going to be thousands of pounds, that's not for us. That's not what we're looking for.
By then you spend a load of cost per click and your time.
So I think for me, I think Google Ads, could be very powerful, but I think you'd have to do it. The only way I would do it, if I was working with it, is so incredibly tightly targeted on the exact terms, and they would be very specific, which means you wouldn't get a huge amount of clicks because it would be so niche, but you would do it in a way where the clicks you would get, you would have a higher, you'd have a really good, you'd have a 10% plus click-through rate, but on a much smaller market, but then the chance of conversion. And then that's the strategy we take for, a number of our clients is we go, we're not going to go after volume, but we're going to have to go pure quality. And we will pay a higher price per click, which is probably this way Darren's getting these, these higher prices from in terms of the, but if you're happy to, we've got some clients that are spending £10 plus a click, but it's so niche that they don't get thousands, even hundreds of clicks a week. We're talking tens of clicks, but they convert because it's so focused.
That's all you want is that conversion rate. That's all we all want out of it.
So I think that, but the Search Console will be a great indicator in terms of some of the really nuanced terms. So I'd definitely be looking at that and then try it. But then you want to run them on, there's different match types within Google Ads. If you run search, you've got exact match, broad phrase, all of that. But essentially none of them are what they say they are anymore. So exact is not exact. Right, you put on an exact match and you say, I only want Google to appear for this term, and Google goes, great, I'll show you for that, but also synonyms and variants thereof. Right, so exact isn't exact. Phrase is basically broad, and broad's just a waste of time these days. So but that's why you've got to be very specific, and you'd have to be all over. Other things if you do it, like your negative keyword list. Do you know what that is in terms of, so be all over that. And again, a tip for anyone watching, if you're going after a very specific market with a very specific way of searching, your negative keyword list needs to be your best friend. And you need to use your negative keyword list as an actual list and not apply negative keywords within the campaign. There's 2 ways to add negative keywords. If you add them as a list, it has a global effect across your account. If you add them into a campaign, it only offsets against that. And you've got to find the root of the what's causing you to get the negative the keywords, and then you negative out that term in a So I'm getting very technical, but I can show you afterwards if you want me to. But there's just some best practice there that I'm just from an efficiency standpoint. When it's very niche and you know the cost is going to be high, but you say that customer, yes, it might cost me £10 for the click, but if they spend 10 grand with you, that's worth it.
Winning.
Exactly that. And I think to do that, there's certain things that you're just going to want to make damn sure you have in place to hedge your bets to make that work. Right? So there's a few bits and pieces there. It gets a bit technical. More than happy to sort of walk you through and show you. I'd need to almost see your ad account and go, do this, and then, stuff like that. Meta. So you are doing Meta.
Yeah, dabbled a little bit of Meta. So
what are you doing on Meta?
Basically, I was trying to get more people coming through into the world for feature walls, primarily. Yeah. So we have quite a good organic reach. So I've got an organic strategy that I use in Facebook. So it's primarily focused around Facebook groups.
Yeah, okay.
Always really powerful, gets lots of traction.
Yep.
As a result, more brand awareness and inquiry. So we thought, well, let's actually put some paid spend behind it. Okay. We'll do two campaigns. One to go straight to the new landing page / new page on the website, actually aimed at feature walls.
Yep.
Feature wall type clients.
Yep.
So there's that. So it's very specific, and then we've got the more generic kind of brand awareness. Let's see if we can kind of reach a wider pool of people.
And are you are you boosting the post on doing that?
We don't boost the post. It's a waste of time.
I was going to say,
huge waste.
But you're doing it properly then in terms of the back end.
Yeah, I'll set it all up in Ads Manager.
Amazing. Before we go any further, are you enjoying today's episode? If so, you'll love our other show, Tea Talks. They're short, informal chats where the Evergreen experts and I share actionable nuggets on all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy that we use daily when growing our clients' businesses. And best of all, much like this podcast, it's completely free. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, see the link in the description. Now, let's get back to it. Right, so that's good. And you're doing that locally then, within a set geographic region. How far a net do you cast?
So I've done it twofold. So what I looked at originally, Aaron, was look, let's put a pin here, i.e. showroom address. Let's do a 10-mile radius.
Okay.
But then I thought that's a bit scattergun still. So I actually went in and done specific towns or cities.
Fine.
Dotted around that we know fall within our kind of ideal clients where they might be living, as an example.
Sure.
So I picked out a selection of them, put a few other parameters in place, and hit go.
Right, nice. Okay. That sounds good. I think the key with what we're seeing now, I think I talk to my head of paid social all the time, and what I think he's telling me from the way to win with Meta is to feed it enough creative. So what creative assets are you feeding to those campaigns? Because you're going to want a mix. You're going to want some images, some videos. You can't feed it enough in terms of to give, because really beyond setting the target radius, and there's a few other bits and bobs you can do, which we'll come on to, but the way you're going to win with Meta is to give it enough creative that it's got some freedom to sort of experiment and test.
Yeah.
Are you feeding, what sort of assets have you got to feed?
So I was primarily focused on the static image stuff because it's quite a visual, visually impactful product.
Yeah. My heart. He said only static images. No video.
I literally thought he was having a heart attack for a minute. He's just having a moment because he's sorry, Darren. But anyway, we'll come to video. I was going to say video. We love a static image. Ready for a static?
We do. Statics are good.
But
so no video at the minute.
Not at the minute. No, I figured I'd start with the static images because it's quite a visually impactful product. Being transparent, we've got pro images.
Yeah.
So I figured, look, we've got some really nice images we can use. Why not roll with those?
100%.
So that's a little bit
they'll do some video. Look at him. He's getting his style.
Static's all good. Statics are good as long as there's also video.
I think mixing up static's a good product. UGC style stuff in terms of that is all going to be. Mixing it up and just trying different things and show. Do you ever post anything on your organic socials with you guys? You're on the job, you're doing the work.
Typically on Instagram stories.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
For me, when I'm on site, I'm a tradesman.
Right. Okay.
So I'm in tradesman mode.
Okay.
So that's but I need to snap out of that.
Yeah.
Do a bit more
I
socials.
can definitely get that. There is definitely. I mean, I'm the same when I'm working.
Yeah.
You
wear
tell
a lot
me
of
all the
hats.
time that I need
in business,
to do
you can wear too many hats and confuse yourself sometimes.
But I think getting some of that though, because that actually it's such a visual product. Getting some of that and showcasing this is where we are. This is what we're doing. For anyone that is considering working with you guys or looking into it or has been on the websites or has seen your posts, they're going to be checking you out on Instagram. Yeah. That's very powerful. And we're seeing that, alongside the ad, this is more organic, but alongside the ads, we see a lot. Our clients where they are proactively posting organically and showcasing what they're up to, what they're doing. humanises who they are, what they do, and it is so and it makes their ad. There's every
It has a
time,
direct correlation.
It really does.
Yeah.
And people think, oh well, if I'm running ads, that'll be enough in isolation. Ads, as I've said before, ads. If you just run ads on social, it'll work well. If you combine ads on social, but with organic, consistent presence, it will work great.
Yeah.
It's that combination. And all of our clients that sort of do some of the organic stuff and they make an effort of doing it, posting, sharing, this is what we're up to, this is what we're doing, this is how we're, that we always see a correlation with their ads, which has worked better.
Yeah, that's a good question for you. I want to ask is, what is the best times of day to post?
Oh.
On socials and what platforms?
It depends on a couple of things. Depends on your audience. Depends on the platform. Normally, so for example, for us, we use a scheduler so that it posts for us so that we can pre-do it, which is what I would massively recommend. Okay. We post twice a day, every day. We post at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we post at about, I think, midday as well. Yeah. Okay. And we've done that because we can see, and you can get tools that will tell you your highest engagement times. Yeah. And we have used those because of that. Okay, great. So what I would do is I would just, you can find general sort of rules from different platforms, but like I said, if you can find a sort of scheduling software, that will also give you some analytics and therefore give you your personal best times based on your account. Now, what I will say for anyone listening is that if you're not posting anything, that's probably not going to be the most accurate information. So you have to post things, and then it will tell you the accurate information.
For me, I would even simplify it further than that. Don't worry about it. I just honestly, we do have the schedule and we do use that for the company stuff.
Yes.
When do I post? Whenever I bloody feel like it.
I just posted now.
For me, I don't worry. I just don't worry. And we do a lot. We've got thousands of followers, and I don't worry about when we post. There's certain
there's only really one that I think of as a no post zone, which is Friday late afternoon.
I was literally just about to say exactly
Friday late afternoon.
Shut off. Friday,
down the pub or
every time we post anything, whether it's personally or as a company,
everyone's switched off.
Dies a death.
Fridays is so like today, like you've just put out. Fridays we're recording this. This and that sort of this lunchtime is the latest you would post.
I was just gonna say this is literally. I was doing it because I was thinking if I leave this any later, it's not gonna get
100%. So, but I wouldn't worry about it. I think a lot of people worry about what is they almost want to put it in a box and go right. Our socials, we're going to do it this and this and this and that's it. See, it needs to be more flexible. And I think what I would recommend, like you guys do, and if I was in your shoes, that's what I'd be doing is when you're just posting when it feels it needs to become a habit.
Yeah, exactly. So
when you're out, when you're doing stuff, we just arrived on site, we're just doing this. Look at they're just installing this. This has gone up. Like anything, a quick snap, a quick selfie with it, a quick video walkthrough, all of that. Yeah. All of that is just going to further humanise who you are, what you do, and it's going to put a face to a name, and it's going to showcase what you're up to, and also show the variety of the work you're doing. Stuff like you don't have to do it every single day, but just doing that with consistency.
Consistency pays off.
Consistency is going to do it. And I think it's there's lots you could if you feel comfortable doing that sort of stuff, then you could build personal brand. Depends which approach you want to do. Not you don't have to do it. You could sort of position the business first, and then but still. You put the work out there, or you could be the face of it and say, this is me, and build your... It depends what you want to do. And I know you said you're doing a lot on LinkedIn. So it kind of depends the approach you feel comfortable with taking.
I think there is also the thing that, for the most part, these platforms will always prioritize people over businesses. So like anytime we post anything, and say for example Aaron posts it and the company page posts it, Aaron's post will always do better.
People buy from people. People can relate to people, which is why
I'm with you on that actually. Because when we've done the Facebook stuff through groups, isn't it? I was just thinking about that. When you post it as a personal, you get a lot more leads.
Of course you do. Of course you do. You're gonna because it's it's people don't want to be sold to. No. They don't want to. And if it's from a company page, they thought, what's the motive here? Whereas if it's just genuinely, this is an update. This is what we're doing. And so I think a lot of people have imposter syndrome, and they feel like, what? Who's going to care? But if you're thinking about dropping 20 grand on a project, and these guys, you've been on your website, that they absolutely are going to care, and they're going to want to see. They're up, and so and so they're doing this or they're doing that, or look what they've put in. So there's always going to be someone that is going to care. There's going to be a lot of people that just go, that's not who cares. But there's always going to be that next customer who's going to go, I'll have a bit of that. I want to see what they're up to. And if you're not sharing that, or if they go on your socials, even if they see an ad, but they go on your socials and there's nothing up to date. It's just the subliminal. Well, what are they doing? Where are they? Who are they? But if they can say, oh, blumming today they're over at, so they're doing this, they're doing that. It's that sort of stuff, and that's why like we will make a point of sharing. Like today, everyone will know. Anyone's following our stuff will know. Oh, these guys are doing podcasts today. It just it might they might be a million miles away from ever thinking, oh, I want to pick up the phone and speak to these guys, work with them. But they sort of it's just another touch point. Oh, I can see what they're up to.
And I think as well, one thing that's really important to keep in mind, particularly with people who haven't done it or are thinking about doing it, is no idea is too small, especially, I think we've spoken about this already, but when you guys are doing what you're doing on site, that might all be second nature to you, but the simple process of doing one bit of what you're doing to someone else online is going to be fascinating.
100%.
And then I've spoken to some of our other clients about this and how I watch these videos where like someone will take like an old Game Boy and they'll take it apart and they'll clean it up and they'll fix it up and they'll put it back together. And all it is showing, like they're not on screen. They might be talking through it as they do, and they usually do a voiceover afterwards. But it's that stuff where they're like, it's really this guy's job to do this. He's like, someone sent that into him and he's just fixed it and he's been paid to do it. But he's probably making more money off the videos of him doing it than actually the people paying him.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That's a really good example. So I think, to sort of, because I want to come on to the commercial stuff. So on the residential side, I don't think there's, as is often the case, a silver bullet over there. I think the SEO, I think there's work to be done based on what we said there. So I think that's an exercise, you could just sit down, go through it and just go, does every page what and where? So I think that's a really thing you could do. You could do it yourself. Do it once and it'll be done.
Yep.
I think on the Google Ads, I think, that would make a lot of sense, particularly because you said your average customer value could be, it's thousands of pounds. And if it's commercial, it could be tens of thousands of pounds. Oh, yeah. So the value is there, but it's about getting the right people. And I think there's always going to be an element with Google, like with any paid platform, is you're going to have to speculate to accumulate. So you're going to have to invest over a period of time. What you want to be damn as sure as whether you do it, you get someone else to do it, is that we are hyper targeted, because you go into it knowing it's going to be expensive on a per click basis. Therefore, I would want to be, making sure that are the clicks we're getting super relevant? Because if they are, not every click is going to be a conversion. But if we know that the clicks we're getting are relevant, they are of the quality, they're exactly how we would want someone searching, then you do that with consistency, it will yield a return. But you would need to look at it, I would say, over a 3-month window, because this definitely. Again, as is very similar to a number of our clients, this is what I would class as a considered purchase. Yeah. You're not going to wake up today and turn around and go, I want to do a feature wall. You're going to think about it. You're going to speak to you guys. You're going to do your research. You're going to be a bit
more long-winded.
It's a building project. Someone's going to be doing a bigger project. So for you, getting in front of those people when they're looking for these really specific terms. And I think then what I would be doing is I'd be using Meta alongside the super localized stuff you're doing, and then the organic stuff, the more day in the life type stuff. What I'd be doing is using retargeting. Do you sort of know how that works? So retargeting, that essentially, it's really all you would do basically is you want anyone that's been on the website, anyone that has, engaged with you on social media, they've liked a post, they've commented, whatever, they've seen your ad. Though you want to essentially group those people, and then you can run a campaign type within Meta, very visual. So again, you'd use video and graphics and this, that, and the other. But it's a staying top of mind exercise. Because for you, what you're going to need, and this is, as I say, is so similar to lots of our clients, is if it's a purchase that someone might be thinking about or talking about or speaking to their builder, speaking to their architect for 6 months or a year or whatever, I would see your job as we've got to stay top of mind with those folks over weeks and months.
100%.
Because otherwise, if it's a one and done, they might search, but if you leave them there, they're going to they might be then 6 months down, God, where was that company? Who were they? You've lost them. But if you can, and that's why email capture is another big thing, right? So I'd have an email sequence with education being at the heart of it, what you need to think about, which stage to bring us in, how all of these that you guys are going to know.
We get to, some people want what we do, but then they get to the end of their build project and the builders already pulled their pants down for loads of money, and
they don't know.
They want what we do, but it's too 100%. Expensive for them.
And that's where I think I would look at it as how do we educate, and if you can get them on an email and education sequence like that and think about the pain points, think about the journey your average residential, and you could rip and repeat for commercial as well, but think about the journey your customer's going to go through in terms of when they have their first idea of what are we going to do on this wall in this room versus all the way they're probably going to be talking to an architect. architect. They're probably going to be thinking about interior design. They're probably going to be thinking, and then addressing those and thinking what are the pain points they're going to go through, addressing that through content and drip feeding that over weeks and months. That and then staying top of mind with the retargeting piece, which is. It sounds all techy and complicated. Yeah. It's really not. It's just essentially put the meta pixel, which is a bit of code, on your website, or get whoever looks after the website to do it. Once you've got that on there, then you just make sure that you have that on the pixel on your website, and then you just use your ads, different types of ads, to get in front of your audience, and just stay there and just keep, they're not going to be seeing your ad every day, but like once every couple of weeks, it's almost a way of just kind of raising your hand and going, we're still here.
Yeah.
As and when you need us, we're still here. And I think that so retargeting would be super powerful. Any questions on that? Because I want to move on to
Have
commercial.
You got any, for like social media, have you got a way that we could do like a funnel? You see these glossy funnels where people have to answer certain questions to pre-qualify themselves in a sort of way where, each step of the questions getting closer to what they actually want. If they don't tick all the boxes, we don't get the inquiry.
There are.
A lead funnel.
There are.
Magnet?
I mean, you've got there's loads of these platforms. Lead funnel, click funnels. There's loads of those that do that sort of thing.
Okay.
Would I be doing that at your stage? No, because I think I think it's very easy to fall into that trap of kind of overcomplicating. And what you don't want to do is put so many barriers in front of people that the phone never rings because you've put in all these. Do you know what I mean? I think that when you're sort of kind of like marketing maturity is a bit further on, you're mil plus and you're pushing on, then I think you get to that stage. But right now, let's not put barriers in the way of people. What I would be doing is, let's just have a look. So you've got on the contact page, obviously you've got the number nice and prominent, which is great.
It's all click to call
let's have a look.
so you can just click it.
Great. So, what I maybe would be doing is, because some people will call, and who answers the phone? Have you got someone on the phones?
Yeah, so it diverts to my mobile or Alan's mobile, the office. If the lady's in the office, then she picks it up first.
Right. And you've probably got some fielding questions, right? What's the project, the budget? You're going to have all of that.
For me, if I'm on the phone, it's natural to me, but obviously...
So writing that down, so you've got a consistency with you guys and then anyone else in terms of, right, these are the 3 key things we need to know if this is worth our time or if this is not one for us.
Yeah, correct.
I would have that, and I would weave those same points onto your form. On your website.
Yeah, so everything's generic then.
So you've got consistency, right? So if someone picks up the phone, you go, we need to know budget, timeline, and whatever it might be. I would add those into here, because then if someone comes on here, they can put their name, their email, their message, etc. Great. But then what you want to do is a little drop down or a little option box or something. What's your budget? Because if you had your budget starting at $2,000 minimum, someone might come on and go, oh, they don't do anything below $2,000. Right, well, I only want to spend 500 quid. It's not for me.
True.
Correct.
Whereas you wouldn't know that right now. So I think there's little things, and I think as far as thinking about funneling it, that's as far as I think you need to take it right now.
For now, until you get
a
to
bit
the
further
next
along,
bracket up.
and then I think then you sort of go, right, how do we? And you almost at this stage you need to just test and measure. It's about getting quality leads coming in with some consistency. And I think the staying top of mind exercise is, if I was working on this, that's exactly what I'd be thinking, how do we stay top of mind with our customer for 6 to 12 months? Once they have expressed an interest, they've raised their hand and said, oh, we're interested in this. 6 to 12 months, how do we stay top of mind? Because if you do that, then you'll win, because that compounding effect of doing that will mean you just get more and more customers. So that from a resi side, that's what I would do. From a commercial side, I know you obviously said you're doing stuff on LinkedIn and stuff like that, which I think is absolutely, that's the obvious place, right? I've got one key thing that I don't know if you're doing it, but I would absolutely do if this was my business and you wanted to get in front of interior designers and architects, because that's who you said is, when you're talking commercial, they are the people that can bring you in on the project, right?
Yeah, and that's in theory, they sort of market for you to a degree.
100%. And I think that's what... because when we're talking commercial, the end product is the hotel or whatever, the 5-star hotel. But who's going to bring you in on that? It is the interior. If someone's, as you said before we came in, if someone's working with an interior designer, if someone's working with an architect, they're probably the sort of customer that you want to be having a conversation with. It's that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So your LinkedIn's going to be great, and I think and again, another benefit of posting all of your stuff on your Instagrams and your LinkedIn's, don't make LinkedIn all commercial and all like businessy. Just show your personality if you feel comfortable doing that. It'll resonate way more. And alongside all your LinkedIn and be sending connection requests, I would 100% be doing direct mail. So
old school posts.
100%.
Really?
Yeah, massively.
Wow.
definitely 100%. I would go this if this was my business. I would do it tomorrow. I would pull a database, or I'd find it manually. But I would find all the interior designers in the country, or maybe London initially, like your target
the ones you
area.
want to work with. Pick out a handful of them, I guess.
Not even a handful. I would find all of the ones that are, and you're going to get, some scale in this. I would want to find a list of 100, 200 interior designers, architects, of which you're not going to struggle with that in London, right? I would find all of them, and then I would craft a really, really good letter that says this, and maybe include a brochure with it.
They always want that value added back,
and this is
price list or something.
This is who we are. I would tell your story. I would have a brochure that showcases some of the recent projects. Okay. Maybe get, in the brochure, get like, some testimonials and clients like stuff. And then if I was doing it, what I would do is on the letter, I would include a QR code, right? You get free QR, go on a QR code, things, get a QR code. When they scan the QR code, there's a video of you chaps there that you can film yourself. This is what I would do. This is 100% what I would do.
Good idea,
right?
To be fair.
You would have a little video that you would do. You literally film it on your phone.
Yeah.
And I would have it as just a little 2-minute introduction. And it's like, so glad you received our letter.
Yeah.
We just thought we'd reach out. Everyone does email these days. We thought it'd be a bit different. This is who we are. This is what we do. We're a small team. We'd love to work with you. We're experts at what we've done. We've been in the trade for 20 years. Just a little sales pitch. But just like love to take you out for a coffee, love to meet up.
Yeah.
The likelihood is, but that, you send that out to a couple of hundred people, I can pretty much guarantee you'll get a few bites initially. That people come out, even if it's just
funny.
even if it's just a really appreciate the effort you've gone to. You will absolutely.
Then you still remind you of them. They might use you in a year or 2 weeks.
And you include a couple of business cards in there, right?
Correct,
And then it's just like keep this around, and someone will keep it. Might not reach out to you for a year, but then they'll get in touch with it. And then if you couple that with your LinkedIn thing, what you could do, it gives you a great so good. It gives you a great in, because then what you can do is on your LinkedIn, you have a spreadsheet of all the people on LinkedIn. You give it a couple of weeks once you've sent it to them, right? You follow up on LinkedIn, and you just say, hey, we sent you a little, a little care package. We sent you a little brochure. Just want to check you got it. And even because then if they get that, it's not going to be hi, generic. This is who we are. Don't go for the sales pitch. You've genuinely sent them something. They're either going to get it, and you're going to force a response, because they're either going to go, yes, we did get that. Thanks very much. Not of interest. Fine. Lovely, still connected, right? Or, we had this, but actually, thanks, we did receive it, we didn't receive it, it's interesting. You're going to stimulate the conversation. And even if they haven't received it, they're going to straight away go to their secretary. I had a message, so we should have been sent something. It was, right? You're in their mind's eye.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
100% you should be doing that. Yeah. So it's.
I think it's really interesting. I think, is it worth almost telling the story of what happened to us the other day when something physical came through our door?
Oh, yeah, you do.
Because you have this idea of, like, are people going to be that bothered about it if they receive something physical? But the other day, it was just me and Aaron in the office. And something came through the door, and it was... we didn't know what it was. It was a little box. Yeah. And we both stopped what we were doing.
Yeah, you did.
We were like, what's in this box? It's just got our engagement entirely, opened it up, and it was this little thing.
It was just
a little sort of
just a little gift thing we were sent,
and it entirely captured us
100%.
for the time that it took to open it. Like, there was no way that was coming through the door, and we weren't going to stop what we were doing.
And I think, and what I would do, and it's just about being, unordinary in a very ordinary world, right? Yeah. Everyone does an email, everyone does this, and I still think you need to do all those things, right? And as a business, we sell ads, and so I love ads. Ads are so powerful to get in front of someone and stay in front of someone. But ads should be used in conjunction with other media,
other strategies,
online and
offline
stuff. That combination of
How about sending them like a free sample pack with a QR code or something like that if you think they're your ideal client?
Exactly. You could. You'd need to look at it from a. I would. I'll show you once we finish recording. I'm going to show you guys something before you leave this building. I'm going to show you a working example of exactly what we're doing, which is what I'm very similar to what I'm describing to you guys do. But you could do exactly that. Or you could. It just depends. But what you want to do is a little other key things. You're gonna if you send something, you put it in a. Have you got what's your brand? What would you say? What are your brand colours? This sort of the blue.
Teal, yeah. So funnily enough, I actually did. Just very quickly to chip in, I actually have done a direct mail campaign back in 2021.
Yeah.
So I was manually, before this AI stuff, went through, scraped a load of designers, recorded a video, and then handwritten envelopes and posted them out.
Did it work?
I think I
had one bite.
Yeah, I had one bite. I don't know about 20 or 25, but like anything.
But 1 out of 25 is amazing. So ramp it up.
Yeah, she replied. It was just like, it's such a personable approach, really fresh, really different.
This is beautiful. Just
Got the idea already.
Exactly, but it's stuff like that. But people don't do it because it takes a little bit more thought. It takes a little bit more but it's so powerful. And then when you combine it, and again, when you combine that with your ads, and then because what's going to happen? Someone's going to get, these guys play things right. They go on the website. On the website. Then if you've got your retargeting ducks in a row set up, you're top of mind, right? Now
you just won't disappear.
They're an architect. Now you're popping up on their Instagram. You're popping up a thing, and you're just staying top of mind all the time. And they're like, and then they're mindful of you and thinking, we've got that project coming up for that customer. Do you know what? They would benefit from a feature wall. Suddenly you've planted the seed.
Yeah.
And it's but would they have been on your website and therefore you're able to retarget if you hadn't sent them a QR code? Because the QR code would sit on a page on your website, which you would hide to Joe Public, so it's only for people that click the QR code. They see it's all of that. And the way to get them to open the envelope or whatever you send is you send it in a bright coloured envelope. So it's like literally I would
just
go for
a weird colour.
Just a gold one or do you know what I mean? Like a gold one or a teal one, or you find you can get all sorts of colour envelopes. But you you handwrite the address.
Maybe a teal one.
None of the print on the computer. It's handwritten, so you write it. You get the name.
I see the urgency in things when people have hand posted me.
100%.
Like it might be there was what's it come through recently? I think it might have been a window cleaning business or something like that, and they'd handwritten to the homeowner.
There you go.
And you was like, oh great, and it was just his little brochure of prices.
That online offline sort of combination of working out what can I do online and then what can I do offline to supplement one another, which is why you send the letter with the brochure, but then you include a QR code, because in clicking the QR code, there's a video, adds the personalisation piece. This is and you literally do it like the pair of you all branded up with your tops, and you're just like, this starts high, and right, you do that. But then in doing that, they're on the website, which if you've got your retargeting set up, they're going to see that, then you can stay top of mind with them. So effective.
If it was me, I would take that creative one step further with the video.
Yeah.
And I would almost stage it so it looked like when they start the video, they're sort of watching you at work, at a job.
Yeah.
And then they almost get a sense of like, have I come into something midway?
And
then you go, hi, yeah. You just
because
you immediately then get that little hook.
It's that,
It captures their attention of like, have I walked in on something?
Yeah.
So
love it.
But it's that sort. It is. You're absolutely right. And then if as part of the video, you include a little sort of, if you include a little bit, maybe before and afters, or something like a time lapse of like a project. There's so many things you could do to just showcase this is what we can do. This is the value we can add to your customers. There's so many things you could do. But that online offline mix is how I'd get in front of it. And then there's some basics there for how to get in front of customers. I think we're gonna have to wrap this here, but has that been useful? Giving you some ideas.
Really big.
That's what I said.
Really good. It's got a few little golden nuggets off you guys, and it's first of many podcasts, I guess.
There you go. Well, look, it's been good fun. I've loved it. We're gonna wrap this episode, and I'm gonna show you a working example of exactly what I'm describing, because we're doing something very similar, because it's so powerful. But before we do, of course, I know. Come on, let's do it.
There's something else.
A paid media problem.
Yeah, there is.
I should have actually done this.
There you go. There's a doorbell. Come on then. I love the vibe we've gone for paid media problems. It's great. Right, come on then. What have we got? Right. Okay, let's have a look. This is from Sarah at it's a homeware brand. Okay, interesting. So right, bear with me, chaps. So this format. People write in a question, and I do my best to answer them. Let's have a look. So I'm getting good traffic from meta ads, but hardly any sales. What am I doing wrong? Can I get access to their ad account and then I tell them?
Wow,
I don't know. Without seeing their ad account, I'm getting good traffic from Meta, but hardly any sales. What am I doing wrong? I mean, my God, where do you start? There's so many things, The first thing I would say, if on that, trying to read between the lines of that, is if you're getting lots of traffic from Meta, what are you telling Meta you want to achieve? Because often that's a mistake people make, is they go, we just want to get, traffic, or we want brand awareness, or we want video views, or we want, and it's like, but is that actually, because Meta will, funny enough, give you largely what you want. So if you say, I just want brand awareness, it will get you lots of reach. If you want video views, it will get lots of eyeballs on your video. If you want conversions, so sales or leads, it will do that so long as you've set up, you've got your ducks in a row, so long as you have optimized it in the right way, and crucially, you're getting enough data in to be able to feed the algorithm. You know, it needs a certain number of conversions, so like 50, you know, 60, 80, 100, you know, convert that number of conversions coming in every month. So if, you know, a lot of the times we see campaigns where they look masses of reach, loads of clicks, and then 8 sales, you know, or, you know, a handful of sales or leads. If that's you, then, you know, you need to look at, okay, what do we need to change here in terms of we're getting masses of reach, but we're just not getting enough conversions. It might be then you need to strip it down from 5 campaigns to 2 campaigns or 1 campaign to get the numbers up. It might be that you need to change the campaign to, you know, the goal, the objective, what you're setting. I mean, it might be to do with the audiences. It might, I mean, there's so many
different
there's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes. But that is getting good traffic, but not the set is a very common thing.
Yes.
But okay, the other thing, just to quickly mention as well, is I would look at this slightly differently. So from what Sarah's doing is I wouldn't look at sales directly attributed, because I'm assuming in that she means when she looks at Meta, she's looking at Meta reported sales. Whereas increasingly in a data-driven world, DDA, we are a data-driven attribution. We are now looking at, okay, you have Meta running, you have Google running, you have whatever, all these different platforms running. The sum of all the parts adds up to the whole. And I think so I would be looking at what are we putting into Meta alongside what we're putting into Google and all these other platforms, and looking at it as a whole of our marketing in versus our marketing out. And that might make the data, you know, stack up slightly different. So that's a hard one to give a specific, like go and do this very specifically, but there's a few things there.
Maybe she can get in touch and come on the pod.
Well, quite. But I think that, I mean, you know, when you're watching this, if you want me to try and give you a very specific answer to that, then give me a shout and I'll try and I'll go into. I would have to literally go into the account and go do this or change this. But I think as a general rule, the key characteristics I would be is the quality, the relevance of the data, the campaign objective, and the objective you have set. Are you getting enough data so the algorithm can get out of learning is the big thing. And beyond getting out of learning, it can truly understand the objective with which you are saying you want to achieve.
There you go.
Hopefully that's useful.
That's been our paid media partner.
There you go. Right, I think we're going to wrap this here. Thank you, chaps, for being on. Best of luck with business. If you think, oh, do you know what? I need a feature wall or I need some of that Venetian plaster stuff in my life, then check out these guys, signature-walls.co.uk. They're off back to London and the home counties, but not before I show them what we're working on. Thank you so much for joining. From Darren, from myself, from the chaps. We'll see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.
Thanks, folks.
Hello, beautiful people. I hope you enjoyed today's Grow with Evergreen podcast. I want to ask you if you would like to be my next guest. We're looking for more home, garden and lifestyle brands to join us. So if you're using paid media such as Google Ads and Meta Ads, if you're willing to be honest and open, and if you're wanting to grow online, then I think you'll find our podcast incredibly helpful for your business. You can apply directly via our website. Simply click on the navigation in the top right-hand side of the website and select podcast. Fill in the application and one of my team will get back to you. Best of all, it's completely free to join us on the Grow with Evergreen podcast. I look forward to helping you grow your business very soon.